so long is like alchemy.
Justice Winslow finally coming along here, the former Duke product. They've put him to point forward because Gordon Dragic is just never going to be healthy, right? Dion Waiters coming back after a year-long absence off of ankle surgery. Josh Richardson's a very nice player, as you will see in this game. Olynyk, the former Celtic, not really a starter. And then the head case, Hassan Whiteside. And the Miami Heat, man, it really comes down to philosophy, because they say in the NBA, you don't want to be in the middle ground. You want to be really bad or really good, right? And the Heat have just floundered in mediocrity for so long, ever since LeBron left. And it really just comes down to Pat Riley's philosophy and not willing to bottom out, not willing to tank. And so they're always hovering 7th, 8th seed. They make the playoffs, and they have a bunch of guys that would be nice coming off your bench. Let's watch Steph sneakily set this screen. He's acting like he's looking at his hands. He's not going to do anything. And then he stunts on a quick screen. And that doesn't get talked about enough, is not showing your hand on the pick and roll action. If you can sprint into the screen or kind of just stumble into it, it really shocks the defenses, especially in today's switch league. There you see Draymond getting physical with Olynyk early on. I thought those two had the potential to really go at each other in this one. Both, you know, like to mix it up. There's KD mid-range fadeaway. Miami, part of that culture, though, is effort. They're going to give you effort every night, and they're very physical. So, I just knew this game might get ugly. You see Steph pull up and kind of off from the mid-range, and then Klay, even when he passes, he shoots. Don't ask me how. Flashes of a young Steve Young out at the stick. But there's no doubt the story early on was the 3-ball and the Heat shooting the 3-ball. And you could tell there was a lack of familiarity and really a lack of preparation going into this with the Warriors defense. They were just letting him pull the 3, and then before you knew it, they were hot. That's an inaccurate pass from Durant. I know he's having a career high in assists, but he's still learning. He still isn't as accurate as you would need him to be, especially moving. There's a pulled 3 in someone's face, right? So it was almost like, here's the early timeout. You can see the score, though, but they didn't respect them from 3, and then you look up and they've all hit 3 or 4 of them, and it's like, all right, now maybe you want to get your hand up. They did the video tribute to D-Wade. Call me crazy, but D-Wade's a little overrated to me. I know I've said this before, but when people place him as the 3rd greatest shooting guard of all time, I've got a problem with that. I have no problem with him being a Hall of Famer, but I think he kind of boosted his legacy given his circumstances. He gets one with the tail end of a prime Shaq, and then the other 2 with Bosh and LeBron, like Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Vince Carter. I have a hard time putting Wade above those guys. I know he's got the hardware. You see another 3-ball, and it was a huge lead, I think a 19-point lead, and then look at the effort. I think they had 12 rebounds to our 1 to start this game. So Miami came out hungry on the Sunday evening, and the Warriors kind of walked into this and found themselves with a deep deficit to start. Steph rattles it in, trying to find a rhythm. And then you're going to see Wade get the legend whistle, right? Just steamrolls Looney. They're like, Looney, you're not getting that call, even at home. I don't care. So he gets the whistle. And don't get me wrong, man. Wade he's one of the smartest players I've ever seen. And the fact that he still looks this good at 36 years old is a testament to him. So I'm not saying he's not great. I'm just saying I don't rank him where a lot of people do. There's Dion Waiters, who is a super heat check artist. Look at Jerebko change directions. The straight line athlete showing something. He looks rejuvenated after that bit of rest. Durant, and then you think they want him to stay? I think so. Not exactly what you're seeing happening in Boston these days, right? And there was just the weak side defense was just asleep all night. Sean Livingston is asleep most of the time on the weak side. Looney out in transition. Again, that's one of those KYP things. I know they love to feed Looney, and everybody gets a kick out of getting him buckets, but if he has to put the ball on the floor, it's usually problematic. Jerebko hits a huge 3. You see the winding down the quarter. We somehow cut the lead down after down 19 to start the second. Boogie, and you notice Kerr likes to draw things up at the start of quarters for DeMarcus, much like they used to do for Klay when he wasn't getting shots. Now they're doing it for DeMarcus. Speaking of Klay, he continues to roll despite the rugged defense of this Miami team. You see him just putting on a clinic, running through screens. Watch Klay in this pull-up transition 3, kind of a heat check here, but watch him slow down. See that extra dribble? Sets his feet, allows him to elevate straight up. That's just not what he was doing earlier on in the season. And Wade, I'm going to leave him alone. One last thing I'll say is he needs to take some salts out of his diet. Brother looks swole. Now, this was really the story of their attack, the Spain pick and roll. There's a screen set for the roller, and he can pop for 3. So watch, here comes the screen. Now Whiteside's gonna get a screen from Richardson, and then Richardson's gonna pop out for the three. D'Antoni and the Rockets love to use this, and Miami was using it all night against us, and because we weren't communicating well, they were getting stuff all night out of it. Waiters, like I said, coming off that ankle, isn't completely healthy, but he believes he's Michael Jordan. His mind is his greatest asset. Steph started to attack in the mid-range and finally seemed to find a rhythm. Watch Klay shoot over the top of this and get a finger on this because he knows that they're hot from three, right? He knows Richardson's looking for the three. Klay's IQ is a big part of his defensive prowess. We don't talk about it enough. Another mid-range pull-up, but you see the speed that Steph's attacking with. That's what I liked to see. Now, change of pace, dribble, and no one does it better, off-glass floater. There was plenty of blame to go around with these threes. Watch Durant here. It's just unnecessary to switch that, right? And Looney's pinned way back there, and now the weak side's completely left out to dry. So, they're looking at each other. It's just sometimes these switches, they don't need to happen. They're over-anticipating the switch. Steph feeds McKinney under the basket, who only played 4 minutes in this game. Now watch Durant, hand not even up. I know what the scouting report says, but sometimes you have to treat each game in a vacuum. If they're all hot from three, you can't follow the scouting report. You got to break off that, and it took them too long to do so. Now Steph's in the zone. Get it. KD continues to struggle from three. You see him. That's a good shot for him. They're giving it to him. The offensive rebound, Steph, like I said, finally found a rhythm in the second quarter. I don't know how many times I've said it, but I've said it, right? Here's another inaccurate pass from Durant, just going a little fast, right? It may have to do with his handle. Like, his handle is very good relative to his size, right? But he still doesn't have the handle of a guard. So sometimes when he goes to pass it, it's just not accurate. Waiters loves these moments. Remember, he buried one on us in Miami a season or two ago. Hits the three to close the half, but the damage control had been done and they were back in the game. There's Boogie to open up the second half. Easy read. But the effort picked up here in the second half. Miami got their attention, and they've showed, like I had mentioned before in that Phoenix game, they've showed more pride than we've seen previously. That's great patience from Durant, who hadn't missed a mid-range jumper, waited for Steph, knew what they wanted. But they've showed better pride in this stretch to the All-Star break than we've seen in the last few seasons. There they are both jumping out at Olynyk. And Waiters, he's the classic example of he likes a hand in his face. Him catch and shoot. You saw that? He missed that thing by 2 feet. There very much so are players that prefer a hand in the face. Klay, doesn't matter. J.R. Smith comes to mind. Lance Stevenson comes to mind. Look at Boogie run the floor here. And I think it's safe to say, like, we've got past the danger zone with Boogie. Now, anything can happen, right? But it was those first 10 games that you wanted to see, like, can he get up and down the court and can he move? Look at the defensive series here. He gets the hand on the ball, and they're going to post up Whiteside, who normally really feasts on us, and they couldn't really take advantage of his size in this game when DeMarcus was in there. But back to his health. I think he's kind of got past that point where it was like, ooh, can he move up and down the court? Is he going to be thinking about the Achilles or not? No, he's past that. He needs to work on his conditioning, but he looks healthy, right? And he's going to get more healthy. Durant, like I said, did not miss from the mid-range through most of this game. Now he goes backdoor, taking advantage of the over-aggressive Miami defense on the perimeter. And Klay, 29 points, 11 to 21 shooting. But I felt like every basket was needed. The timeliness of Klay's baskets of late have just been miraculous. Now, Draymond, he probably is not going to get credited for an assist unless he was playing for the Thunder. But that was absolutely a pass. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he felt Looney trailing the play. Watch Steph and Draymond switch here. Why? Now look at Draymond trying to stay in the paint. He has to close out 15 feet to the three ball where the kid's already hit like 5 of them. Unnecessary switching and a lack of communication and effort. Meanwhile, KD putting on a clinic in the mid-range, ultra efficient, doesn't even put it on the floor. Now we've covered the little slump that Steph's been in. Watch this sequence here. Look at the speed of this. Behind the back, in and out, hesitation 3. And he doesn't drop. But that, to me, that play was like, oh, okay, Steph's feeling all right. Steph's going to get back right. And it's not that we were worried, but he has been slumping. That's a big boy move from Durant. Look at him lower the shoulder. Okay, I see you. Another key that a lot of patrons like to point out is he needs the ball in his hands more. It helps him find a rhythm, but the aggression and then the rhythm, the speed that he's moving at is what you got to watch with Steph. Sean, he sleeps on the weak side. Not the west side, the weak side. Waiters doesn't have the elevation to get above the rim, but look at the step back. That's very Harden-like. Was that a travel? I don't know. But he, like I said, he's one of those guys that has infinite confidence in his ability, and it allows him to get dumb hot. Klay, another timely banger. You can see the score going back and forth here now in the fourth quarter. Watching it live, it looked like Boogie was really kind of getting picked on here. Another Spain pick and roll, but ultimately it was a team thing here. And what they got to do is DeMarcus has just got to switch onto the ball handler here. But instead, he tries to pass him off to Draymond. And then Klay is now worried about the three-point shooting, as he should be the way they're shooting the ball. So now I'll roll it. And it results in a big lob, and Draymond's frustrated and screaming, right? But they have to play that differently. It was almost a blessing in disguise. There's Bam out of Bayou as the Heat make a run here in the fourth, and then Draymond's going to get teed up. I think that's 11 on the season, but anyway, it's 15, and then there's a suspension. But being exposed by this Spain pick and roll, look at the hands of the big man, and you know who with another timely basket in the corner. But like I had said, I think being exposed with the Spain pick and roll is almost a positive because now it gives them a chance to work on it. This time, Klay was waiting for a screen. It never came. And part of these lobs and this action, why it was so effective late, was because the way they were shooting the three. And Wade is like Phillip Rivers out there, right? He's looking off the safeties. He's faking the check down, and then he's ripping across the middle. He's very crafty in that action. Wide open off of Klay's gravity, gets Draymond the dunk. Now it's Durant's turn to pick up a tee. I don't know his count. I don't think it's nearly as high as Draymond's, but it's almost like they got to do these things to stay engaged. And whatever's clever, if it works, it works. What have we won? 17 of 19. Off the inbounds, another lob to Bam, and it's Looney shooting out at the three ball. So really, it was great strategy from Miami, as well as lackluster communication. Spoelstra understood, and the Miami offense, Wade in particular, understood, okay, we're hitting the three, now that backdoor lob is gonna be open. No, it's not deja vu. Klay just keeps hitting timely baskets. Watch Looney here. He needs to understand this kid is having a career night from the three-point line. You've got to show harder than. You know what that lets me know with Looney is? He takes direction very well. I'm not sure how much he thinks for himself out there. There he is sucked in on the help, and it's Winslow giving the Heat the lead with under 5 at Oracle. KD pushing the ball 100 miles per hour, and he goes down awkward again, but he seems to always be all right knocking on that wood. Can you hear me? So he looked like he was in some pain, but he sprung up, and Kerr, he does a nice job with our guys calling timeouts when they get chipped up, just letting them gather themselves in the huddle. But the story was, much to everybody's surprise, coming back out of the timeout, DeMarcus was back on the floor despite the struggles in that Spain pick and roll, Durant getting to his spot. But I thought this was a very strong vote of confidence from Kerr to DeMarcus in a game that was clearly not decided yet, rolling him back out there and letting him help contribute. Another three ball. These dudes, how many teams have set season highs in threes against us this season, right? So they go to Durant, who's the hot hand, and when he can get this deep, it bodes well. After a nice defensive play from DeMarcus to knock the ball out with 1.3 on the shot clock, Durant has a brain fart here and fouls Winslow. Now, to be fair, his back was to the basket, so I don't think it didn't look like it was going to be a shot, right? But Durant needs to understand clock and situation, and then this is where I will give D-Wade all the credit in the world. His defensive prowess, timing, and IQ, maybe he is the greatest defensive shooting guard of all time, so you've got to factor that in there. Huge block, coast-to-coast finish, and then Draymond. Who's this on? Let me ask y'all, is that on Steph or Draymond? Because Draymond, yeah, that's a bad pass, but Steph's got to protect the passer a little bit, right? And so that's a 50-50 turnover there in my eyes, even though live I was cussing at Draymond. Here we go, no timeout. Up, where you going to go? Look at Draymond's gravity. KD hasn't hit three all night. He gets that one, though. Ties the game with 42 seconds left on the clock. No timeout from Spo, and it's no mistake that they try to attack who DeMarcus is guarding. Look at him get out here and understand situation and how Miami's played all night and gets a good contest on the three ball, rebound, and Kerr, likewise, no timeout, ride the Slim Reaper who's been hot after the big three. Now, the controversy, I must confess, live, I didn't see anything about it, but Spoelstra, very upset, claiming Durant double dribbles right there, 2 hands on the ball, pulls up, can't get it, but look who's on the offensive glass. DeMarcus Cousins immediately rewarding Steve Kerr for trusting him late in the game, knocks both free throws down. Now 5 seconds left. Can Miami stun Golden State again, this time on the road?
Winslow trying to inbound. They get it now to Waiters. He's going for a three. Waiters for the win. Long tip. Warriors win it.
I'm not going to lie to y'all. I thought that thing was dropping, man. Waiters loves those big shots. That's a good shot for him, right? And so narrowly escape here on Sunday evening. Wade getting all the love and the praise and doing the jersey exchange, of course, with Steph. Now, Tuesday is the Utah game, y'all. And I don't know wherever I looked it up, I thought I was going to be able to get the home telecast, but I'm not because it's going to be on TNT like every other damn game. But I'm still going to do the live telecast for the Jazz game Tuesday. And what I'll do is hopefully if you guys can watch it on TNT, I'm going to pause it at the tip so we can somewhat be in sync. But hey, no promises. I don't know how it's going to go. I've never done this. That's a lot of time. I'm not going to like call play for play. I'm just going to watch it with y'all and then give my insights and, you know, talk that shit. Probably don't have the kids around because I do throw some swear words around, usually in closely contested games. And this one should be, considering Utah playing well, and then the Gobert-Draymond beef could get spicy. I'm out, y'all.
I've been winning so long, it's like alchemy.